I'm glad you brought this up because it reminds me of something I wanted to discuss on the previous episode, which is the concept of an iconic hero versus an epic hero. So, on one end of the spectrum, you have the iconic hero, who's really a function of a particular theme or symbol, and personality wise, they remain consistent throughout the story. Examples include Superman, Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, or even Saitama, who you were talking about a minute ago. And with iconic heroes, you don't see much of a character transformation. With the example of James Bond, in every 007 film, he's more or less the same character doing what James Bond does best, fighting bad guys, seducing women, and looking cool and suave whilst doing so. On the other hand, you have the epic hero who evolves as the story progresses. A great example outside of manga is Star Wars, where you have both Luke and Anakin Skywalker, and by the time the story ends, both characters are radically different to how they used to be at the beginning of the story. Now, the iconic versus epic hero dichotomy is more of a spectrum rather than an either or dynamic, but it's important to consider because the way you think of your supporting characters will be very different depending on whether or not you have an iconic hero or an epic hero. So we were talking about One Punch Man earlier, and Saitama is definitely more on the iconic hero end of the spectrum. And that's why the creator of One Punch Man, One, uses Janus and the other supporting characters to drive the story forward. Also, Saitama's insane strength and quirky personality just doesn't have the same effect unless there's a witness, someone else reacting to him. Then it really sinks in. This guy is hilarious, yet he's also really, 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 really strong. Now, if you have an epic hero, the dynamic is very different because it's easier for readers to empathize with these kind of characters. So we feel the weight of each emotional arc as the story progresses. However, with the supporting characters, they're still important because in many cases they challenge and expand the epic hero's viewpoint. A great example is Naruto. On the surface, you could say it's a story about ninjas, but the truth is it's actually a story about what it means to be a ninja. Naruto has one of the richest selection of supporting characters that I've ever come across. And what I really love is seeing each character tell us what they think it means to be a ninja and seeing how these contrasting philosophies force Naruto to constantly question his own ideas and his own viewpoints. One really good example of this in Naruto is his rivalry with Sasuke, and I know you had a few things to say about that, Bill.
So, one of the cool things about protagonists, and I hope I'm saying that right, one of the cool things about rival characters, rather, is that, like I said before, they push your main character, and you can see that this is as much potential that your main character needs to be able to beat the secondary character where he, she, or they are at the moment. In Naruto, Sasuke and Naruto's rivalry is pretty much off the bat, but there is like a large section at the beginning that Naruto is just doing his own thing, and it's only when they start doing the tree climbing training. Basically, they can gather ninja energy to the bottom of their feet, and they can walk on any surface, be it water or up a tree. This time it was up a tree. And Naruto like has this special quality about him, his friendliness and his unlimited chakra. But Sasuke is the one who is a genius, which is a term frequently used in shonen manga. He's a genius who can pick up things very quickly. And to be able to counter that, Naruto has to work twice as hard to reach that level of genius. And it's that competitiveness that made you like Naruto even more. Like, you can say that he's a hard worker, but to actually see it illustrated in such a way that you're rooting for him, it got to the point where I think it was that chapter that was actually the first time that Naruto was on the cover of Shonen Jump.